Well, hey, and welcome to the Quad City Podcast. My name's Corey, and we're so glad that you're tuning in with us today. Now, since most of our team is outside of the country right now, either in Mexico or in Romania for our mission trips that are currently going on, you're going to be hearing from Josh, Anthony, and myself as we look through last Sunday's sermon and talk a little bit more in depth about it. If you haven't listened to that sermon yet, then I encourage you stop here and go to our website or our YouTube page, watch that sermon. That's going to really help this conversation make a little bit more sense to everyone. And with Easter being just around the corner, then I want to encourage you all of one thing as we step into this season. Be sure to invite your one. We know that Easter gives us such a great opportunity to reach people who wouldn't normally come to church and hear the gospel. So whoever your one is, whoever that one person is in your life that you have been praying for, that you want to see find Jesus, this is a great opportunity to invite them to one of our services. Well, hey, without any further ado, let's jump into this conversation today. Well, what's going on, everyone?
What's up, dude?
You gotta say it. You're in the chair, man. You gotta say, hey, happy Monday.
Oh, well, happy Monday.
There you go. That's so much happier than when Jason said it.
I'm one of the pastors here.
So obviously, you heard two voices. If you're a longtime podcast listener that you've maybe heard before, but probably hadn't heard in a little bit. So we've got Corey and Anthony. Corey with an E, not Corey.
Spelled correctly.
Yep. And Anthony here because basically our entire team is out of the country.
Yep.
So I think we're the only ones who are left.
Holding down the fort.
Like that are in this USA. So we got a team that's in Mexico or driving to Mexico. Should be there today. So we're some like Nate and Jason and Brett and all of them. And then we've got a team in Romania.
Yep.
No, that's where Nate is. Nate's in Romania.
Yep.
Yeah, like they did make it. For those who are wondering, they are in Romania. They made it safely. And then the Mexico team is en route today.
Mm-hmm. They probably just crossed the border, I would imagine. They left pretty...
They got to go, because they got to go to El Paso.
Oh,
So they're driving to El Paso to
right.
connect with the mission, Casas por Cristo.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll go over the border with them. Casas por Cristo will take them over the border.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think El Paso is like 8 hours, 9 hours. I don't know,
That's a drive.
it's the drive.
I was thinking just one of the Arizona...
Oh yeah, the Rocky
entrances,
Point.
but
They're going all the way there. They're going
That's right.
because that's the organization that they're building through, and so they're going with the organization there. But obviously, like I said, you guys are some new voices, maybe to some listeners, but old listeners are probably curious. So tell me what's been going on. We'll start with you, Anthony. So how's life? Where you at now?
Oh, yeah.
We don't see your pretty face over here anymore in Prescott, do we?
Not here in Prescott. I'm in PV now, so I get to be in Prescott Valley, part of our Prescott Valley team, working with Ken and all the efforts there, and it's been a blessing. And so Corey's now here in Prescott. So him and I have swapped locations. But yeah, good. We're our two little kids are just a blessing. Spring break right now we still have little ones. So spring break is still just another day. And so our son is home, and he's extra squirrely and going to the zoo today, and he's having a blast. We might check out that safari park this week, the one out in Camp Verde or somewhere out there. That'll be fun to visit, but it's going to be 100 degrees, so I don't know what. This is going to be hot.
People tell me to go to that Arizona.
Yeah.
My boys love it. They go with their school.
Haven't done that yet. I want to do that.
They say go to Arizona.
Yes, but doing good. We're going to start t-ball soon, so Milo's going to be doing baseball, and it'll be fun. It's a beautiful time of herding blind and deaf cats. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm not helping with t-ball this year. I helped last year, a couple years before that. I'm just I don't even know who our coach is. I don't know him. I don't think he knows me. So that way, I can't even offer to help because he's not going to ask me first because he doesn't know who I am. I'm just going to show up and sit in a chair and watch.
And be third base coach every now and then.
Because I'm assuming you're going to be coaching
I
some
help
of your
with
other kids.
the older ones.
Yeah.
T-ball is just, bro, it's so tough.
It doesn't...
It's so tough.
Yes.
Well, cool, man. We're glad to have you.
Yes.
Glad to have you on the podcast. So, got our other friend with us today, Mr. Heward. So,
Yep.
how's life?
Good. So, we're not spending any money to go to Arizona with our kids. They're a little too young to actually like make that worth it. But
yeah, of course, so cheap. Help him out,
Yep.
man. He's so cheap.
We're doing good. My daughter Anea, she just turned 2 a couple weeks ago. So we got a 3.5 year. I don't know. I feel like I've been saying 3.5 for a long time now. He turns 4 in August, but
He's gonna move.
so
That's fine.
Yep. So 3.5-year-old and a 2-year-old. So,
boy.
Yeah. But
Oh.
it's good. It's good. It's fun seeing her want to do absolutely everything her brother does.
Yeah.
But she's just a little more reckless about it than he is.
When's Oakley gonna get into some sports?
Yeah.
Is it
Pretty soon.
I was about to say,
pretty
isn't it
soon.
soon?
Yeah, he's
Ah.
starting to get to that point. So he's enrolled in 3-day preschool.
Okay.
So come August, September, whenever that is, I don't even know. But he's enrolled in it. So we'll be doing that.
Nice.
That pretty soon. But I'm excited for the sports. I mean, T-ball does sound. I don't know. It's still my first kid. I haven't had anybody go through sports yet, so I'm
That's a
excited
blast,
about
bro.
it. But,
Yeah, man, you should do it for
Yeah.
sure. No, like I jump into it, do it, like have a blast. You'll be great. It'll grow your patience level immensely.
It's a rite of passage.
Anthony was amazing. I was with Anthony last year. He's incredible. We're not surprised. Right? So kind and nice, and I've learned that age. Like I did basketball this year with Amos's age, so 4. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
We only did 30-minute practices. I was worn out, and I coached middle schoolers for 2 hours. And I was like, that 30 minutes. I was like, I gotta go home. I gotta go to bed. Like they need so much from you.
Man.
And so there's a lot of just instruction over and over. So
Yeah, those 5 and 6-year-olds, they're great. They can kind of listen. It's the 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
They can't do a 2-step command. So drop the bat and run to first? No. They'll run to third or some other field.
So can he do soccer this year? Right?
I
Because
don't-
Amos
I don't
did
know.
it.
I need
Amos
to-
did it last year
Okay.
as a 3-year-old. Yeah, Amos did it as a 3-year-old.
Okay, then I need to look into
It's
that,
weird
'cause-
though, man. You're not. It's like they call it the backyard club or something. So it's
It's not just through AYSO?
no, it is, but it's
okay.
not like a team. It's like you
Interesting.
just practice and hang out and kind of just play. I'm like,
Just run.
no, man, just put us on a team and let's try to kick that ball on the goal. Yeah, Amos didn't like it. He didn't like shin guards. Like
Okay.
lost his mind.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Like did not want the feel of them, did not want to wear them. So this is the first time we've ever paid for a sport and didn't do it. He just wouldn't he wouldn't do it. Dinah took him like twice and he just cried the whole time. Like,
Because
tried
of
to-
the shin guards.
Because of the shin guards. And I
Yeah,
was
but
like,
he's seen his brothers put pads on forever.
I know.
Yeah.
He just didn't do it. We just did. And it wasn't like you weren't on a team. You
Yeah.
just were kind of in this. It was weird, right? So it was like, I don't know what they call it, but it's not technically a team yet. So you just kind of show up on Saturdays and you're just having organized fun. I don't know. It's weird. So
Interesting.
yeah, put me on a team. Let me just get 5 kids and let's see if we can win.
Yep.
That's
And keep score.
and keep score, baby.
There's a winner and there's
Yeah.
a loser.
There's probably somebody right now who listens to this podcast who is furious that we're talking about soccer. So
Oh yeah. I will. I love talking about soccer.
I know you do.
I love talking about soccer.
America-
Just maybe not backyard club.
Yeah.
4-year-olds running around with no.
but you'll be there this
Point.
fall. If you want to find Corey Heward, that's where he'll be. You better
will.
sign him up, man.
Yep.
Come
I know
on.
he's hitting that point. Like I've never had to do that before. He's hitting the point. I got to start looking ahead and
You
signing
gotta
him up for
start signing
So,
stuff up, man. It
Yep.
fills up fast.
And every season, sign-ups come fast. It's
they do.
Yeah.
They
Not
really
ready.
do.
Yeah.
Nice. Sweet.
Well, cool. Well, without Nate, it sounds like I'm the one who's got to keep the conversation going today.
do.
Yes.
So, Josh, obviously, you were preaching. I think you did a great job.
Appreciate it.
Anthony, you got any thoughts from your perspective out in PV this Sunday?
Totally. It was a great message. So, Josh, thank you. Right from the word. I mean, all about the authority of Jesus. And the two questions really stood out to me that you said. Are we making Jesus everything? And then what in our life are we keeping off limits to him? Like that hits. Even chatting with a life group today, they're thinking through that, and that was hard for them to think through and answer. And then are we just amazed by Jesus, or are we actually following him?
Yeah.
Kind of like how Jason touched on, are we just familiar? Are we just familiar with the name of Jesus, with what a church is, or do we know him?
Yeah.
And so that was just huge. And knowing what we're going to get into next week,
Yeah.
in the next couple weeks of the good news. So that was a powerful message.
Yeah. I throughout this series, it's like every single time that we talk about what Jesus does after, he spoke with the crowds, and then afterwards he does what? He goes and finds his own place to spend time with his Father. And that was the biggest part of this. I'm just every time I hear this, I go, man, I just feel convicted. And so that was the biggest part of Sunday, walking out of that, just like, man, even Jesus doesn't need that time as much as I would even need that, as much as I need that time.
True.
And even with that, he is making it such a priority. And so I think out of everything that I heard from Sunday, that's where I walked out the most convicted is. But yeah, Josh, if you had more time, is there anything that you would want to throw in there?
Yeah, I don't have anything I want to add. There are a couple things we just trimmed up. Some of the kingdom language, Luke is again, 32 times he's going to use the kingdom of God language. And so it's so important for us to understand what that means. And so, trying to just summarize it in the time that we had, one of the things that I just cut for time's sake was around, really when, Jesus is the fulfillment of the kingdom. He is it. So when he arrives, the kingdom arrives with him, right? Yeah. That's the mentality, right? It's why, the definition, just trying to sum it into, it is the reign of God breaking into history through Christ. That now Christ has arrived. That's what it means, right? And again, we could have tied in the Lord's Prayer. That's what Jesus literally tells us to pray. Yeah. Pray your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so how do we look at that? Look at what Jesus does and how he interacts with people. That is the picture of what the kingdom of God is. And so even the contrast between how Luke uses it and Matthew, how he uses his understanding of kingdom, he uses the word kingdom of heaven, right? That's instead of kingdom of God. And so again, same idea, same points, but
it was helpful to break down kingdom. A lot of us in Western culture think of the castle.
Yeah, for sure.
An actual place, the kingdom.
Yeah.
And so that was just helpful.
Yeah, one of the things I didn't say, what was interesting is, so when you think of the healing of Jesus does all these healing miracles. And there are people who claim to have that gift. Well, why do they just not go to a hospital and heal people? Why? Because there are some who perpetrate it for their own good. Why do they sell tickets to fill a stadium? You know what I mean? That's my sinister side. Is if I had that gift, man, I would just want to try to heal everybody, right? I wouldn't want to charge you $25 to come sit in a seat for you to maybe be healed, right? So that was my cynical side going man, are people really So when but I was that we don't need to say it was the negative side of it. But I was man, there are people who say they have this. Jesus did. Everyone who showed up, he just healed. But also too, not focusing in on that, the purpose. It was great. The healings are amazing and they're really wonderful, but that's actually not the point of any of this.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we read this and go, I want to see that in today's day. I want to see someone walk up to someone, get healed in faith.
Yeah, and again, that's the other piece. Even you add in that, so funny. There is no in faith. That I don't know if any of these people have faith. There's no belief attached to their being healed. They just show up and Jesus heals them.
Yeah,
right. Because nowadays it is you're not being healed because you have a lack of faith, right? But that's not the mentality we get here. There are some stories that Jesus talks about people with great faith. But it's not really attached here at least, to the healing aspect. And so much of the way it's been perpetrated, I guess, in our cultures around healing, it is oh, Anthony, you don't have enough faith.
Yeah.
But if you sow a seed of $1,000, you can get more faith.
Ooh.
And I can heal you. It's been misused, unfortunately, by people.
Yes, for gain.
For personal gain. And you don't, actually, Jesus pushes that, to your point, he actually pushes against that and walks away from it. He's I just need to go hang out with God, the Father. I don't want any part of that. So it is just an interesting way that sometimes this text and the other healing texts get taught to the global church, Western church, really. So
yeah, and there's no doubt. You did a really good job of making it clear. Luke's point of this story was not just to share with you the healings. And that's what we are amazed by. We hear that and then we make that the point of the story because it's incredible. It's a whole lot more incredible than just somebody spreading the gospel or just sharing,
Right.
proclaiming this message to the nations. Like we make this everything, and it's so clear. Like that is not Luke.
Right.
Luke makes it clear what
it took
the
him
point
4
was.
chapters. It took him 4 chapters to even tell us anything that Jesus did.
Yep.
Like you just read it and you're like, what did Jesus do? Like, what's so amazing? But again, the what I was trying to drive at, like, but if I really believe he's the Son of God, I'm not shocked that he could do this. Of course God could. Of course God could heal somebody who is sick. Like I'm not even shocked by that.
Yep.
He created out of nothing everything we see.
Yeah.
So when you read this, it should just be like, man, that is amazing. But yeah, he's the Son of God.
Yeah.
He was literally conceived through the Holy Spirit, right? Nothing should be shocking. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I should be amazed, but I shouldn't be shocked that could he actually do this? You'd be like, no, yeah, for sure he could do this.
Yep.
Of course he can do this, right? And so, yeah, just that reminder that Jesus has the authority over everything.
For sure.
Physical, spiritual, all things.
And like you said, they answer to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And are not shocked. They know him very well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that was and that was great, right? So, I had written my message and Jason was writing his message on demons. And I knew Jason would spend all that time on demons. So I didn't have to go down like a long road with it. It was really helpful to know that he was setting up for us so much of the conversation that I could spend time in other places and talk about other things. So it was really great. And too, how these weekends kind of, blended over because it's the same narrative, it's the same day. Literally all this happened in one day. He goes to the synagogue, he heals a guy who's got a demon, and then he goes to Simon Peter's house.
Yep.
Right?
Heals a fever.
He heals a fever. He heals the mother-in-law. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was good. It was a cool text to teach.
For sure.
And it goes back to the thing you said, Corey, wanting to spend time and get away with Jesus. That's just so convicting. And it's just so hard for us. We're selfish. We want to. Like, there's a desire there. And we just don't put in the time and the effort to make it happen more consistently.
Right.
More genuinely. And that should hit all of us as we listen to that, as we read the word and jump into the gospel. Yeah.
Well, you just breathe. Yeah, I mean, you literally. It's
Yep.
just
Read over.
lost in the text. Like, you just read past it when you read this because you are so amazed by, oh my goodness, a demon. He's like talking to a demon.
Yeah.
And you just right to the next.
So that's why I kind of appreciate you left me pretty convicted, but that's
Same,
why I
bro.
appreciated you actually spending the time to not just let us glaze over
Yeah,
that. But
same.
last thing I want to mention before we jump into the questions that we got here today, I am really curious what Jesus actually said to this fever. Like what he said in rebuke, like to yell at a temperature.
It's crazy.
I'm really curious
It's
what he said.
crazy. Like I've read, I read that first, and I'm just sitting there reading and going, "Why you rebuke a fever? Like what?
He could have just healed her. He
could've,
could have just
but-
lowered the fever, but he rebukes.
He rebukes
the thing.
it, and you're just like, that's an odd thing to do."
Yeah.
It makes it sound like it was 108.
Yeah.
He's going,
Well-
get down, fever.
Yeah, that's so interesting, right? So people are trying to commentators are trying to navigate, was this a fever because of this, or I'm like, not enough that I was willing to be. All I know is that he was mad at it.
Yeah, I know.
Right? 'Cause
that's what's so weird.
In my mind, rebuke feels like
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's mad at that fever.
Yep.
He could have just put his hands on her and she
Just
was
it.
all better and healed. But no,
He yelled at
there
it.
was something wrong with
Right?
that fever.
Yeah, they're one of the people that talked about Ken and Jason. They tried to get me to talk about how Jesus was mad because he went over to the house to get something to eat after a long day of preaching, and the mom was sick. So he's like, "God, nah." I was like, I'm not saying that. She was
something
being
to eat.
ridiculous. She did
course.
just they wanted, that's right. She got up and took care of the men. I was like, I'm not saying that, man. I'm not doing that. That's
Yes.
somebody else said that on Sunday. They're like, that's my favorite part of the story. Like, she's like, oh, I got a house guest. I got to get after this. She gets up and makes the casserole, And I was like, nah, man, I'm not saying that on Sunday morning. Nope, I ain't doing it. So they both of them, Ken and neither one of you are probably surprised by that.
No,
that,
not at all.
that's what they were like.
Especially not Ken.
Yeah.
Not surprised by that at all.
Love it.
Gotcha. Well, hey, thank you, Joe, for sending in a few questions today. We'll jump right into the first one here. So Joe says, what part of Jesus' example here of the healing, praying, or moving on? I'm assuming that's talking about the Jesus moving
Leaving.
on from that town. Out of those things, what do you suppose is the hardest for churches to follow today?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I think the hardest part is moving on.
Yeah.
Churches are pretty good at being compassionate, meeting people's needs. Like I think we want to help people, right? I think all of us want to help people. We want to relieve suffering, and like those things are good and they're right. But like Jesus wouldn't stay where he was most needed and most wanted. Like that's what's crazy to me. Like it sounds like Capernaum was a disaster. A lot of sick people, but you have multiple people who are oppressed by demons.
It's a lot of work to be done there.
And it would seem as if he should stay, but like he wouldn't stay there. And they wanted him to stay there. Like they were begging Jesus to stay, right? Like meeting needs is not the same thing as fulfilling the mission for Jesus. And so he leaves. So I think for churches, it can be dangerous to move on to the next thing, right? Even just in like a practical sense, like, because especially like, so again, you guys haven't been in ministry long, but you've been in long enough, there are things that have worked in the past and they've changed people's lives.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're a bad thing. They just aren't the best thing. They aren't the mission anymore, or they're not the thing that feeling God's called you to use to fulfill the mission. And so you move on from it, yet people like they need it or they want it, right? They most want these things and you don't do them anymore, right? And it's hard for churches and people to be like, but we've always done it like that. And so just making the decision to be like, man, that's really good, but like we're gonna move on to the next thing. So I think that is one of the hardest things for churches collectively to do, is to like, move past some of that stuff.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. That's tricky, and because there's a lot of prayer, thought, and discernment behind moving on from a ministry, and folks are always wondering, why aren't we doing that ministry? How come we're not doing that effort?
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes into starting new ones. Ending old ones, and we want to do it to give God glory, to do it right. So, man, that's got to be hard.
Okay, so this is a perfect way to segue into his next question that he says. He does say, how do leaders faithfully discern that then, when compassion calls us to stay and when obedience calls us to move on? Like, we know the moving on can be hard. How do we know when it's appropriate to do so? Yeah,
for sure. So clarity about our calling, right? And so when we're really clear about what God has called us to do, like individually or like as a church, as leaders, it's actually super kind, because like the saying we say around here all the time is clarity is kindness. Like when we're really clear, it helps people know where we're headed. So I wrote down a couple questions or a couple thoughts to like ask. It's like, hey, when do you know, right? It's interesting, like, here, before I say those three, how urgent these people must have been. Like, please, like begging.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, nah. And he's like super successful too. Like he could have stayed in Capernaum and been successful. Like he could have really built this massive thing probably. And
he could have saved everyone in that town.
Could have, right?
Everyone.
For sure. So a couple things I wrote down is like, for one is like, what is God actually calling us to do? It's something that like as leaders and as pastors and as a church we should be asking. Yeah. Second, what is good but is not ours to carry? Meaning, there are some things that are super good, but it's not what we are running after. That doesn't make them bad. It just means like we're really clear on what God has called us to do. And that church down the road, or those people, that may be the thing that they're doing. That's not what God is calling us to carry in this season. And so we want to be real intentional about what God has called us to carry. And the third is, where is the Spirit directing, not just where the demand is loudest. So
Yeah.
like again, you guys have not been doing this a super long time, but long enough to know that the loudest voices is usually a few at times. It's not actually the
I needed about 3 months of ministry to figure that out.
yeah,
Josh, so
yeah. So again, for us as a church, we are trying to really lean into the Spirit of God and seek Him. Which again, Jesus is praying after all the things, and I'm sure in that prayer time, the Father was like, "Hey, remember why I sent you. Hey, they're gonna come. Be sure of what I've told you. Don't doubt it, son.
Remember the big work we're doing.
Yeah. So they're gonna come, and everything in you is gonna want to stay, and you need to tell them. You know what I mean? Like, and again, he's praying they come, and like instantly he just shares it. And so again, just this, like, he withdrew before making those kinds of decisions, because like the high of ministry you would just keep doing it, and yet Jesus kind of gets out of that, and then it's like super clear, like, I can't. I have to leave. So those three questions again: what has God actually called us to do? What's good, but it's not ours to carry? And I think that can apply for individuals.
Sure.
There's a lot of things that are good, but that's not what God has called me to carry. And you got to be real intentional, because if you pick up everything, then you're not good to anybody.
Yes.
And then the last one is, hey, where's the Spirit directing? Not just where the demand is the loudest. I think is a big one to trying to discern through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, too, going back to the idea of, like, we do the hard things, and like these decisions, if these decisions are being made out of I'm comfortable here, that's probably not the best reason to stick around. Yeah. Like, Jesus, the rest, he had that. Capernaum was probably, this moment there was probably one of the easier things he had to do. Like, he would have been more comfortable there, and I'm sure knew that he was going to be stepping into much more difficult, hard conversations and places and people, and he was willing to set aside the comfort for the mission. And so, part of that is, I think, always just asking ourselves, are we sticking around because I'm comfortable here, or is it time for me to step outside of my comfort zone and pursue what God's got in store for me next?
And I think you're right, Corey. And if you've been around Quad City a day, we push against just doing the comfy. Like, we're trying to do the hard things that are staying true to the word. It's going to grow us the most. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be good for our ministries, good for our teams, our people we're trying to love on and show Christ. Yeah. It reminds me of things that Josh and Jason have told me, like, hey, someone might walk up to you and they're passionate about, hey, why aren't we doing this ministry? Why aren't we doing this? We can't just, Anthony is kind. I can be a yes man. I want to help too. I want to do that ministry with them and help that person. I have to sit back and discern, is this right? Do we do that? Do we have the resources, the time, the gifting on our team, the people we've got to do it right? We've got to take time. So I keep thinking through that.
And does this help us fulfill our mission to make more and better disciples? Yes. That's our call as a church. Our call is to make more and better disciples of Jesus. And yes, some of those things help. But again, that helps us as a team, right? Like, again, we talked a couple weeks ago when we started this chapter. Jesus lays out a very clear mission statement. He has been called to proclaim the message of the good news of the gospel.
Yes.
That's what Jesus is called to do. And that does meet physical needs, like, for sure. He does meet physical, like, that's what we see. There are people who are oppressed who are set free. But it doesn't always. Again, we're going to get, Jason talked about this when we talked about it, but John the Baptist, he asked him in a couple chapters, like, hey, is Jesus who he is? Will you just go make sure he's the guy? And they say all the things except setting the captives free. He doesn't say anything to that about John. He says, hey, the blind are seeing their dude. He doesn't say anything about the captives being set. Why? Because John's in jail and he ain't getting out. Yeah. And he's going to be beheaded. Like, literally, that's what's going to happen to John. Sometimes the physical Jesus doesn't actually address. He doesn't heal you. He doesn't do these things. That doesn't mean that the good news of the gospel still isn't proclaimed, right? And so that's the piece, is Jesus was really clear on that mission. And because of that, it dictated everything that he decided to do. And so as a church here, we're trying to be really clear on our mission, and our elders spend tons of time praying and seeking and then helping release to us as pastors the direction of where we're headed. And again, some things are good. They are good. They're great. We just there are things that, again, I grew up with that was formative for my faith that we don't do here.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it that we're bad and that place is better. No, it just is, seasons change, things change, right? And so our kind of is like, how do we help get people into real meaningful relationships where they're asking each other really hard questions? And so we've tried to like take away the buffet of, of church to actually just focus in on, we think these are the things that will help grow people to be a better disciple of Jesus. Because that's the goal. That's what we want. We want people to know, to teach them to obey everything I've commanded. Well, that's what Jesus told us to do, right? That's what Jesus left for us as his disciples. So that's kind of the thing that we want to focus in on and try to do. And so, and I think things will change. Yeah. I would imagine things we're doing right now in 5 years, if we're all still here, I bet it's different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because again, the needs of the community and the needs of the church and the vision God calls us to run after will be really, even the way you guys have seen it, the way we've changed, even how we structure Sunday morning since I've been here. Yeah. Right? Since you've been on staff, we've changed because the desire and the needs and the vision, right, of our leaders, right, but it's a deeper call, right? More and more and more deeper into trusting the Spirit of God to lead us.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that none of our Sunday mornings did anything before we made the change.
Exactly. That was what we struggled with. Mm-hmm. Like we were still, if you want to just say like church, like successful, like people were coming and lives were being changed. We're not saying that none of that discounted. We're just now going, how do we push even further? How do we just challenge even more? How do we lean in and really help people experience God in a way that is transformational? I mean, that's what Corey kind of talked about when he talked about communion. Is like, it's great to be amazed, but like the amazement should lead to transformation. Yes, it's kind of how we tried to tie the bow. Is great. Is all of the things that God has done for us are amazing, and he just rattled out 5 or 6. They are. Yeah. They're amazing, but that should be so amazing that it transforms my life. Yeah. Because I couldn't help but respond to the amazingness of it in a way. So, for sure.
Yeah. So then going along some of what we were just talking about, how do we as a church keep the real needs that we see in ministry and in the community? How do we keep those real needs from slowly redefining the mission that God has given us?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I think we got to talk about the mission often. Remind our people, remind ourselves, the Great Commission, why we're trying to make more and better disciples, and all the pieces that fit into that, and what we see in the ministries, all from kids ministry, students to adult.
We all got toddlers, right? I have an older toddler. Yep. Their needs are endless. They just always want, like, if you're a mom, with young kids listening to the podcast, I bet in this hour you've been trying to listen to this, your toddler has probably worn you out, asking you for a billion things. Mm-hmm. And they're all right and righteous sometimes. Like, it's not bad. Yeah. Like, they want a question or they need an answer. They need their sippy cup or they need the straw put in or they need this or they need that. I need this, in the van. I'm like, man, just put them headphones on, bro, and just quiet up.
I'm sure Linda, while listening to this podcast, has paused it multiple times to put Crazy Frog in on the speakers for the kids. Yeah. Because they were begging for it, I'm sure.
The needs of people are endless. Yes. And so if we are only responding to the next need, that if that's it, just what appears next, like you will just get lost in that, because they are. And as a pastor, right, like that is one of the things we do. We get a phone call, and instantly they can change. Yep, that happened today. Somebody calls me, needs something, and so like I'm now spending 30 minutes trying to track this thing down. Yeah, right now I have the margin and the time, but again, if we kind of lose focus on, to your point, what the mission is, and we're always talking about it. Yeah. And so again, it's just a question to like rattle through is like, are we just addressing symptoms, or are we trying to advance the kingdom? Mm-hmm. Like Jesus, yes, for sure, 100%. He the lady was no longer sick. But she did die. Eventually, Simon's mother-in-law died.
Yeah.
The thing that Jesus came to address was sin, right? And so again, we should meet physical needs. We have a ministry. We have benevolence. We try to serve people.
Yep.
I don't think that should ever go away.
We do it every week.
Yeah, I don't think it should ever go away.
Yeah.
Ever, ever, ever. But like the deeper level of things is what we want to get at with people, like sin and all that. And so again, how are we as a church, it is the physical springboard into the spiritual in a way, right?
Yes.
Like when we meet physical needs, hopefully it's a launching point into being able to help address people's spiritual needs. Again, the way we do benevolence here is for church people or people connected to church people, because I want Corey to have a friend who says, hey, call my church, they can help.
Yep.
And then and then Corey's banking on his pastors, like talking about Jesus to them. And then it gives Corey a bridge to go, see, man, that's why we want you to be a part of the church.
Yep.
Because it's a community. It matters that people care about you and are invested in your life and are there when you need them, and you can be there for them. Like it's both ways, right? Like we're expecting Corey to now be able to take the goodness that we've provided, take it to the next step, and so that's why we do it that way. Again, because we could help. I mean, the needs are endless in our community.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And again, sometimes we have to say no. It's one of the hardest things ever.
Yeah.
It's brutal, but there's just only so much in the physical side that we as a church can do. And again, we're not a nonprofit.
Right.
We actually are called to help people come to know Jesus and follow him.
We've had moments where we've seen people have their needs met physically. We give them a meal, we give them help, give them gas, and we've seen some fruit from that where they're part of the church. They're worshiping with the body. Some of them are serving, so they've leaned in and have taken those steps, and that's why we love helping people. But we want to meet them. We want to talk to them, hear a piece of their heart, pray, ask a few hard questions. And then help them go on their way. And so we've seen some of them come back and like, I'm a part of this group now. I've been loving it, and that's comforting.
And our compassion flows from the mission. Of course, we would love people. That's what Jesus did. You know what I mean? It doesn't start there. It is the because I know who Jesus is, that he came to proclaim the good news, to set the people free. Like, of course, I'm going to be engaged in that kind of work.
Yep.
I'm going to help. I'm going to love my neighbor. And sometimes loving my neighbor means literally I got to take the coat off my back and give it to him. That's what Jesus said. You got two, give them one, keep fruit and keep them with repentance, what John the Baptist said, right? So there are some of these things that of course are going to be super tangible. And we're going to keep meeting needs, but it's got to flow out of what we know of the gospel and what we know of the good news and what we know of the Great Commission. It flows from that, not the opposite way. And I do think churches at times get in trouble, right?
For sure.
So,
and I think you said it well earlier on too, is the focus on the symptom or is the focus on the mission?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And we know sometimes we are only going to address the symptom.
Yeah.
That's what we know. And, one of the things we talk about around here is if we're going to default, we default to mercy.
Yeah.
Right? We always say we're going to default to mercy is one of the things. So at the end of the day, if we're merciful and we help someone, I think God is honored by that. And we may not. We may not get to change, or they may not take the step of faith. They may not get connected to our church and find hope and healing. That's okay. But maybe they do, right? And so it is one of the harder things to learn, as you're serving and helping people. But the mercy, like that framework. So, as our church is helping people too.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and James talks about it, I'd much rather God be merciful than judging with me.
Oh,
so I'll default to the mercy side.
Yes.
And hope that, God, I was just trying to do my best.
Yes.
There was a situation, you placed it in front of me. I'm going, oh, okay, what do I do? All right, I'm going to try to be like Jesus. What would Jesus do? All right, this is what Jesus would do. And I may get it wrong. And we may circle back up and go, I wouldn't have done that. And I go, yeah, you're right. I was wrong, But you just try to trust the Spirit in those moments. It's really hard, but it's, you I think you get better. Maybe you get better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you get better at it?
Little
Mark?
by little, yeah. We've had moments where
Yeah.
we had to say no, and no is hard. Hey, we've helped this guy physically 4 times. We've helped him get on his feet. We've given him all the tools, showed him how, and he's chosen not to. And so now he's asking again for this unique type of help, and we have to tell him, like, hey, not right now. But we want to help you get some guys around to help you stay sober or whatever it is, to see those things with like a hard, loving truth.
I do wonder how difficult it would have been for Jesus to walk away. Like I know how difficult it can be to say no when I know that when there is a need that somebody has, and it just for whatever reason it is, we have to say no. Yeah. And I know how difficult that can be. And I don't love that person nearly as much as Jesus does. And so for Jesus to have left while knowing there's so many people there who still needed healing, who still could have benefited from him being there. Yeah. Like,
bro, his cousin John the Baptist gets beheaded. Jesus could have saved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just just lets him he gets beheaded.
And I think what can also be true is that he knew even more than we do the big picture. Like
that's why he told us.
The entire what's coming next, the miracles that are next, and then the ultimate death and resurrection. Like he understood it more fully. We just know.
And we're getting to one of the examples of a story. Jesus heals lepers.
Yeah.
And there's only one that comes back. This is like that's happened to Jesus. It happened to Jesus, right? And so again, why would I think but I assume, right? Because I go, oh, that's what I would do. I would go back and be like, hey, thank you so much for touching me and healing me. But I probably wouldn't, right? And so just knowing that that's okay too, right? That you're going to be used and maybe taken advantage of or not appreciated. Like if that's the goal of why we're trying to do it, then, it's, we're never going to be satisfied, I guess is the right word.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, let's get into this last question that Joe had sent. Josh, what part of this passage do you most wish the church understood more deeply?
Yeah.
What do y'all think? This is a tough one. I wrestled with this. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think just being a pastor and having the conversations that I've had, there will always, always, always be a need for people to recognize Jesus is more than just this blessing in your life. Like he obviously is a blessing, but what are you going to do about it? Yeah. Like, are you only going, so your question at the end, which is exactly why I tied communion to it.
Yeah.
Because it just is are you just amazed or are you actually following? And so I think, if we had churches that fully understood, I'm amazed by Jesus, so therefore I'm going to follow him. Yeah. Oh my goodness, this country would look so much like the world would look so much different because of church-going people if we all deeply understood that. And so I think that will always be a piece. I mean, that just goes back to being a better disciple.
Right.
It's part of our mission. So
Yeah, that's good to know. I wish churches understood more the authority of Jesus. If we truly believed and lived out, knowing that he is omnipotent, omnipresent, sovereign in every way, to teach that, hey, that should actually give us a lot of hope. Like we win in the end because we know Jesus wins. But then we have something to do about it. Here it is. I don't want to just be familiar with him. I don't just want to know his name because the enemy does. I want everything to be under him. Nothing's off limits. Nothing in my heart. And therefore, I want to follow him closely. I want to walk with him and know him closely and admit when I'm wrong and talk to him and say, Lord, I did walk from you. I'm sorry. I want to do better.
Yeah. I think just personally, this is just my own confession for Josh.
Yeah.
It is the prayer piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus is not praying because things are going badly. Right? That's why most of us pray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is when life is bad, I know I can pray. But when things are good, I'm good, I don't necessarily. And then the danger of a church leader is that the momentum we see sets the direction we go, not the prayer time and the voice of God determines our next steps. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Our next steps should be determined by leaning in and praying and doing these things. But a lot of times it is momentum. Again, we talked about earlier is like ultimately if we changed nothing, in November when Jason stood up, we still would have been
Teaching the word on Sundays.
teaching the word and doing. But again,
I think we'd be making more and better disciples.
we'd be making
still.
more and better
Yep.
disciples still. But the clarity that Jason got from spending that time in prayer with the Father
Yes.
on the sabbatical, and then us praying through that and spending time and seeking the elders, are doing that. But everything inside of me was like it's only made things a little more difficult and challenging. We changed service time, that's not how my mind operates. It's like, oh, I see this success. This is what I should be driving after. So it's like, oh, what is so for me, it is as a person, as a church, as a leader, it is that like momentum doesn't dictate direction, but prayer does. And for Jesus, he slipped away and prayed. And that's what we see over and over and over and over and over again. So it like the pressure to like make these decisions real fast.
Yeah.
And I'm by nature that's who I am. I want to do no, we got to pause, we got to pray, we got to seek wisdom. David said something was so good. When one of the services, just playing his keyboard, and he goes, "Hey, we don't have because we don't ask."
Yeah.
That's one of the things we talk about on Wednesday noonday prayer is God literally tells us to ask for the Spirit. He just gives us permission. He just said to ask. He just ask. And I'm like, I don't. And that's David says, he goes, you just don't have because you didn't ask. And God's not like beating you over the head with that.
Yeah.
He just is reminding you like, Josh, you don't have because you didn't ask, son. Ask. And I'm like, oh man. So that's the conviction for me is again, how do we keep doing that? How do we keep leaning in when people are, because it seems crazy to me. People are like, hey, Jesus, I need you. And he's like, hey, I gotta go. I gotta go pray.
Yeah.
Like at home, it seems like, hey man, that's great. I'm praying right now. We talked about that as a team too. Like that should be like,
It should matter.
it should be a thing that matters to us. So I think that is I want our church to believe this more, that this is the difference maker. I don't just want our church to know about God. I want us to actually pray. I want us to show up and pray and to just lean in and to do the work and to wrestle with God. And, those other things are great too, for sure. But as I just, again, same way, man, your conviction was my conviction. Is I'm like, I just got to pray more. I just it just has to be a rhythm.
Yeah. Amen.
It just has to be the rhythm of my daily life. And when I said it, I really do mean it. I think the best thing, if I want to live like Jesus, is I need to pray.
You said it. We're trying to live like Jesus. It's easy to forget that he prayed. He didn't just do miracles. Didn't just walk on water. Like he talked with the Father. He intentionally got away. Man,
and these are just the ones they record. How many?
Yeah.
I'm sure there was way more that he did.
Oh, for sure.
Even his certainty, didn't you know I'd be here? I had to be in my Father's house. Of course, this is where I'm going to be. This is where I'm going to be. I'm going to be hanging out here. So yeah, for me, that is as a church, Quad City, would we just lean in and just pray?
Yeah.
No agendas. I mean, just seeking God and begging God to be present and to move, and that he's glorified, and that I'm just grateful for what he's given me. And then that's what's helping drive decisions, is that clarity you get out of that time, not these opportunities or pressure to do the thing. Again, opportunities are great, and it helps give, God is like, hey Josh, I'm doing something over here. Pay attention. God, he does show us right at times, but there is man, I want to be able to discern and to know and go, yeah, okay, I'm making this step. So
Yeah. It is funny. I am usually more convicted by the example Jesus sets than just the words he says. Like when you look at his example, that's where, just as we were talking about that, I just thought of that. Like I'm more convicted by his example than his words usually. His words are plenty convicting, don't get me wrong.
Very
but when you see his heart in it, it's just his genuine love for his Father.
And then I want to live like that.
Yeah, it's not what you, right? You want to get a good idea of who people are, right? Like watch what they do, watch the decisions they make or don't make, the way they give and all that stuff, and that will show you like, hey, who really owns their heart? Like that is the question. Somebody asked me that is, how do you know if you're just amazed or if you're following? It's kind of the same thing we talked about a couple weeks ago. I was like, well, generally, you're probably, if you're following Jesus, you're doing a whole lot of things you normally wouldn't do. Like I look back and go, yeah, there's no way 20 years ago, Josh would probably be making these choices today, and like, is the Spirit leading me to do things that by nature that this isn't the places or the decisions or the things that I would necessarily always be doing. And I think it's probably, So
sure.
how would you guys answer it? How would you encourage people to go, hey, how do I know, Corey? How do I know if I'm just amazed? How do I know if I'm actually following?
Yeah. I think what you said, not just to steal what you said, but when you are doing things that your flesh hates, like you're doing things that your flesh hates, and you have stopped, or, well, not stopped necessarily, because it's always going to be something we got to repent of, but you're doing less of the things that your flesh loves. Like when you see yourself, I mean, that's repentance right there.
Right.
And so,
That's good.
He's changed my want to. I don't want to do that anymore. Like there's this, and if I do, and I slip up, and we do every day, it's like this deep, Lord, I'm sorry. I want to be quick to come to you for forgiveness. I don't want to just be how much I know. I want to be how quick I respond to the word, how quick I respond to what the Spirit's convicting in me. That's showing my walk with Jesus, and then fruit from that. So there better be some people in my life that know I love Jesus, but then are they starting to look like Jesus? I don't know, in small ways or big, but.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That people around me should be able to go, oh yeah, that Josh guy.
Yes.
He loves, knows, and follows Jesus. Right? They
if
should be able to say that.
If someone says, I had no idea Corey was a Christian. Wow.
That happened once. That happened once in my life, and it is a marker of change for me to hear those words, to go whoop.
your football coach, right?
No, just football player, a friend of mine,
football
buddy
player.
of mine. But it's burned in there because it is. It's like, oh, yeah, that's what happens when you don't live like Jesus, that you're not doing those things. Yeah, so you're right, man. Fruit should be evident. People should be able to go, yeah, I think that Anthony guy, I think he's trying to live for Jesus. Yeah, I think he's trying to live for Jesus.
Yes.
Again, not perfectly at all times, but that there is a change. And it should be those people that knew you maybe before and now know you after.
Yeah.
Right? Those people should be able to be like, yeah. And the hardest part is like my kids and my wife, they should be the ones that it's the clearest to. Like, he's
Amen.
He as a dad's trying to love Jesus, as a husband's trying to love Jesus, I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, who you guys see, you know.
While your family is also the ones who have probably seen you at your least Jesus-like moments.
The worst.
Right.
The worst. That's what I tell people about marriage all the time. Your spouse sees the worst of you.
Yeah.
Yet every day chooses to lay down beside you and go to bed and love you. But they know you. Hands down, your spouse knows the worst of you.
And should. Yep.
They just know the worst of it. They've seen you at your absolute worst. Yet the beauty of marriage is they're in this thing still. Right? That is every time I talk to a new couple, I go, I'm telling you, they're gonna know all the ugly. All of it. Yeah. And they're gonna still each day choose to stay with you.
Man.
It is just a beautiful picture of what love really looks like.
Laura and I both married a sinner.
Yeah.
I need to forgive all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her, you heard
And
more
I used
than
that
you,
line, and
heard more than you. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Love it. So yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think that'll do it for today. So thanks,
Yes.
guys, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you.